What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Malachi Malay. I know everybody, probably sick of hearing about the Remy Ma and Papoose situation, you know what I mean? And I doubled back a little bit just to explain a couple of things, right? Because originally, people were downplaying Papoose's contribution to Remy Ma, you know what I mean? And you got a whole bunch of feminists, a whole bunch of Remy fans that say, hey, Papoose is a bum, and without Remy, Papoose would be nothing and all that kind of stuff. No. That wasn't true, okay? Without Papoose, Remy would be nothing. Nobody would care about Remy. You know what I mean? You got to understand, Remy was incarcerated. She was in jail for 6 years. You know what I mean? For several years. Remy Ma would have came back out of jail. No record deal. Would have went back to the hood and probably pop off and end up going back to jail. Because at this moment, Remy Ma is still a visible big-time celebrity, and she's still popping up, getting into fights and all that kind of stuff. She's still wilding out, you know what I mean? So Remy Ma would have continued doing the exact same thing that got her back in jail. The only reason she hasn't, because Papoose was always there to moderate her emotions, to even off her emotions, you know what I mean? Because, when you're dealing with Remy Ma, I believe she's definitely, usually with those personalities like that, she's definitely opposition defiant disorder, you know what I mean? Like this girl, she just want to fight. You say left, she want to say right. You know what I mean? To the point where she's willing to shoot her best friend without any remorse, And I ain't saying that to say to downplay her or bash her, but what I'm trying to say is that, hey, individuals have fans of their people. A ton of women always back up Remy Ma. You know what I mean? And you cannot back up something, a train wreck, without disrespecting the person that kept that train wreck in check. You know what I mean? Remy Ma is who she is right now without Papoose. Papoose came out and said, hey, I wrote majority of Remy's hits. Remy said, cat. Okay? So since that whole breakup, when was Remy Ma's last hit? When? She even came out with a freestyle the other day, and she sounded like how she sounded like in 92. So it's very clear that Papoose wrote for her. She don't want to admit it. Come on, man. It's not an issue. I don't know why it would have been an issue, because they were married. Like your husband, I'm sure both of them, as they're, writing their rhymes and whatever, Papoose is like, yo, what you think, Remy? Remy's like, no, if you flip the vocals like that, if you flip the cadence like that, if you flip the words, yeah, and vice versa. Yo, Pat, man, you like this? Oh, yeah, it's nice, done. But if you use that word right there instead of this word, then it'll be dope. You guys are married. You guys are both rappers. There's no problem with that. There's no issue if they helped each other, or even if they wrote each other's verses and back and forth, and that's what it is. You guys are a team. Ain't nobody, nobody's gonna say, yo, nobody's gonna have issue if EPMD came together and they helped each other write. Nobody's gonna say that, because they're a group. Tribe Called Quest, they're a group. Nobody's gonna have any issues with that. But Remy constantly thinks she's the greatest on the planet. You know what I mean? She even had herself in there with a top 10 dead or alive men and women. You know what I mean? Sorry, it was top 5 she was talking about. She was the nicest. Come on, man. Just look at what's happening right now, right? All you see is Papoose and Clarissa Shields. Before Clarissa Shields got into this mess, ain't nobody knew nothing about her. And she was a world champion. She was the boxing world champion, but nobody cared. She was grabbing attention or trying to grab attention from Layla Ali, trying to, and trigger her into a fight to get that rep. It wasn't working too well, right? Layla Ali wasn't falling for the bait, but nobody knew who Clarissa Shields was, and she constantly kept on winning. She even went into the MMA, and she still won in MMA, but nobody knew who she was. But when she got with Papoose, all of a sudden everybody knows who Clarissa Shields is. You know what I mean? All of a sudden she's fighting for a couple 100,000. Last couple fights for a couple million. It's all about branding here. Papoose is a master of branding everybody else besides himself. Okay? And that's cool. Because there's great managers that could tell you how to rap. There's great producers that could tell you how to rap, give you the words, write everything, but can't do it yourself. Jermaine Dupri's one of those people. You know, he wrote everything for Criss Cross. He wrote everything in the beginning for Bow Wow. But he couldn't, it just doesn't work for himself, right? That's what Papoose is. He's a great manager. He's an excellent manager. He's a great brand executive. You know what I mean? Papoose should be working at some major label as a branding specialist, because whoever he associates with, they go straight to the top. You know what I mean? What have you heard about Remy Ma? You know, she traded in Papoose for Easy the Block Captain, and Easy the Block Captain is getting more recognition than Remy Ma. How's that possible? How? Remy Ma's the big name, huge name. No new music, no acting, no nothing. The only time people are talking about Remy Ma is when she turns on the live on this camera and starts crashing out. That's the only time. She will only be known for crashing out and losing it. Going psychotic. That's the only time Remy Ma is ever gonna be known for. You know what I mean?